Okay, welcome back to Violent Money TV, where today I am joined by Shay Ingram for the first time after a successful pro debut on Cage Warriors. We waited a little bit of time after the fight to get this one done. So, how are you feeling now, man? And in terms of like reflecting on the performance, how happy are you with it?
Well, I'm feeling better now. I mean, I had an infection on my foot, stuff like that. Shin's still a bit sore from checking about 40 kicks. But yeah, I thought I did all right. I mean, not my best performance ever. We were in a war, really. Let's put it like that. I'd rather my performance be a bit more clean than that. But we got the win, so that's the thing of the day, isn't it?
That was kind of the big thing that you spoke about afterwards in a few of the interviews you did was like, it was a tough fight, but how many people out there can say they've had pro debuts that are like that high level? Like I know that I think Cage Warriors do a great job of like, they don't need to have you build up as slowly as someone who doesn't have the kind of amateur pedigree that you do. So we don't need to wait around in terms of just giving you that experience. It's like, all right, well, let's put you in there with
Yeah,
someone
yeah.
who's also at that level. But even then, I can't remember seeing a fight in quite some time where it's a two guys, in pro debuts that are where you're like, this is we could see this fight be a Cage Warriors main event in a few years.
Oh,
Like I can't remember
100,
saying that.
100%. 100%. I mean, like, we were look how it was built. We were put on the main card. Neither of us had a pro fight, and we were put straight on the main card. All the promotion around us. I mean, it was crazy, really. But like you said, I haven't seen anyone have that hard of a pro debut on Cage Warriors, or by a matter of fact, anywhere really. Like the kid was 18 and 4. He was a IMAF silver medalist. I mean, he was no chump. Like he was no mug. So I'm happy. I got in there with a solid opponent, got the win, and it didn't just finish in the first round after 10 seconds. I mean, like I said to my coaches, a lot of them, I'd rather have like a 3 round war than get in there, hit some kid in 30 seconds, he goes down. I'm there like, oh, I've just trained like 10 weeks for that. Like there was no need. Like,
Yeah, like he's a top level opponent, and I feel like it showed in the fight. Like you said, like I think opponents that don't have that much experience, I think you would have been able to get them out of there. But he was able to come back in that second round, and like you said, it turned into a bit of a war between you guys. So even though it was a tough fight, not only is it a win that holds real weight because people like rate both of you guys, but also it's a pretty good introduction to the Cage Warriors fans who weren't familiar with your amateur background because it's like these guys are making their pro debuts and that was a high level fight and it was a war.
well, 100%. And also, I showed a bit more of my skill set. I mean, in the first round, he actually shot on me. I mean, he's fought on Glory Kickboxing. He's a high level kickboxer, as you can see from the checks I was throwing, the checks I had to fucking block in all sorts. But I felt like I showed a good level of skill in there. I mean, I was shooting from the bleachers in that second round. My arms were a bit gassed from trying to get that rear naked. But, we come back in the third, we won it. There we go.
Have you fought anyone that is like at that level yet? Because in terms of like obviously you both have extensive amateur backgrounds, but like I said, that's a fight that I think we could have seen in a few years' time. It's rare for you to encounter someone that is on that same level at this stage in your career.
Well, 100%. Like David Komar had a record similar to his. He was 14 and 1, I think, but he was a bit too small. He was a bantamweight at the time, and I was killing myself to make 66. So I was really a 70 kiloer. So, like, I don't think I was too big for him and he was too small for me. So I kind of took over quite early. But I'd say Christian Soda was a very hard matchup for me when we fought because he was coming down from 77 and I was coming up from 66. And I still believe that Soda was my hardest fight. But I think if that was what 3 5 minute rounds, that would have been as hard as my last fight. But you know, it's one of them. I got in there, had a hard fight with Mark at the time, but hopefully the next one's a bit easier. I'll make it look a bit easier.
I mean, if they manage to find someone that is, like 1-0 as a pro or even 0-0 that is at that same level, then geez, I guess the scene right now is in a crazy spot for talent coming
Oh,
through.
100%. Like I knew he'd had a load of fights, but I couldn't really find many of his fights. I mean, I was looking on his YouTube page for some of them, which isn't the best thing to do because like no disrespect to him, but he's putting his highlights up from the fights. So I was kind of
Mm.
only seeing the good bits about what he was doing. So I was kind of sat there thinking, like, I have no idea what level this guy's on, but I know who I train with. I know how I fight. I can beat this guy and I can beat him convincingly. Whereas some people say I didn't on the night. I mean, it's one of them. The second round, he probably did nick on the scorecards, but I gave a good fight in that second round still, and I come back and took over in the third.
Yeah, I was going to say the training at Renegade, one of the most high level mats in Europe right now. That must give you so much confidence, no matter what the opponent is, because you're like I said about how that fight could have been a Cage Warriors main event. You are training with guys that have either been through that process or have been through similar processes and are now at the global stage. So you know that this isn't going to be a step that is going to necessarily take you off guard because you've been there and seen what that is like.
Yeah, like I said on one of the interviews, like I was sparring with Jai when he was going for his main events in fighting for the title on that. I mean, like it's nothing new to me, but when you get in there in the 4 ounce gloves, no shin pads, you're not in a spar anymore. It's very different in the spot I was put in. Yeah, at the time I was a bit like, "Wow, this is crazy." Like I'm just a kid from Worcester. Like we've got no one who's really come out of Worcester. Like we've got a lad called Owen Cooper who's a really solid boxer, but MMA wise, there's no gyms around here anymore. That's why I had to move up to Birmingham. So it was a crazy experience for me, and I can't wait for many more to come.
It's crazy how like I don't remember seeing this too much. Maybe like outside of London because London is so big it draws people in. But with Renegade right now, like I'm from Gloucester, and any fighter that is from anywhere near me, they just go to Renegade.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
a
yeah.
magnet at the moment. The amount of talent you guys get.
It's class. Like we see lads coming from other gyms all the time, coming in wanting to train with us. Like it's crazy. Really, we're just a little gym in Brum. Really, at the end of the day, but we got the best, well, arguably the highest level mat in the UK.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. One of the things that I loved as well about the Cage Forest debut, we've never actually confirmed this, but kind of the unofficial mascot, I think, of Violent Money TV is the Welsh gangster Oban Elliott. So
Yeah.
to see, in his own words, gangster mania still running wild in Cage Warriors feels like the second coming. That must be cool because I know that you guys go back a long way. So I'm sure
Yeah.
not only is it inspiring to see that he's walked this same path. Had a good amateur background fighting in Cage Warriors, and then went through that promotion, doing well in the UFC. Now that must give you a lot of inspiration, but also it must just be cool, considering how long you guys go back to see him doing so well, and now you're on that same path.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like I said in some of the interviews, I was like, what? I was 10, pretending to be 13 so I can go to the MMA, the local MMA gym. Oban was there. He was like 14, 15. We were training together. Like, it's just crazy to see where we've come from and just to where we are now. Like, Oban's like, it's amazing where he is. It's crazy to be fair. Like, look at all the things he's doing. He's like, I was watching the WWE the other week. I can't remember which one it was, but he's just like he's on the screen. They're
Yeah,
putting his name out and all sorts of like, yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Like if I
yeah,
could just do like 10% of what Oban's doing, it'd be I'd love it. It's amazing.
yeah. It is cool to watch. Talk to me. Like I'm going back to this. Getting into the MMA gym by pretending that you were older than you actually were. First of all, it's pretty rare for like, even though it's becoming a more common thing for people to start training like straight away in MMA and things like that rather than traditional martial arts. But to start MMA at 10 is that's I mean, especially when you're lying about your age in order for it to happen. That's pretty crazy.
Well, I started kickboxing at 60, so I did that for 4 years. But then I was getting a bit like it's getting a bit boring, just doing one single thing every Saturday, going there. So my dad was like, "Oh, I've got an MMA gym if you want to go do it." I said, "Yeah, all right." But like on our way up there, I remember him just saying to me, "Oh, if they ask you 13," and I looked at him, I was there like, "But I'm 10." He was like, "No, no, no, you're 13 now." So I was like, "Oh, okay." Because at the time it was like I can't. It's going back now. It was like what 11 years ago for me. Like there was kind of an age limit on it. You know what I mean? Like, no, you can't be underneath a teenager to be doing what we're doing. So I just had to lie, and here we are now. I'm 21, and most of them people probably think I'm like 24, 25. But
Did you ever have to did they ever find out?
oh yeah, 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 yeah. They found out. I think they found out quite quickly. To be fair, like just people saying happy birthday to me and saying that I was like 12 or 11. That's probably how they found out. But
Yeah.
they were fine with it, and I'm thankful for it. To be fair, the lads who used to run that gym, because I wouldn't be where I am now if it weren't for them, really.
I mean, like 3 years doesn't sound like a crazy thing to like say that you're this age when you're actually that age, but the difference between a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old, I'd say
Yeah,
is a pretty big jump.
yeah. Well, let's just say I've got the nickname the Fridge, haven't I?
Yeah,
So I was kind of mini Fridge back then, but I might have been bigger Fridge back then. So I was a big boy, so I kind of got away with it that way, I think.
fair enough. I know that, like you said at the start, there was a couple of things that you were dealing with after the fight, but obviously it was a bit of a war, so no one was expecting you to make like a quick turnaround. But is there a time frame that you want to be back in?
Well, I was going to push for the last one, the Newcastle one, but I literally haven't been back to the gym yet. I mean, I'm still sore on the shin. My foot was infected on antibiotics. So I thought, you know what, for the first time in probably around 4 or 5 years, I'll take 2 full weeks off, not do anything, just chill, keep the body moving. That's all I've done. But I'm hoping they've got end of February, start of March next year, and that's when I'll be back in.
I still go to quite a few Cage Warriors events, but when I first started going to them, I was writing for their website at the time, and it was right around the time where Jai was champion, which meant I went to a few cards in Birmingham, and it was great. It's only like
Oh,
an hour away from me, so I'm like putting the gauntlet down to you now that we need to bring Cage Warriors back to Birmingham.
100%. Look at everyone we've got. We got me. We've got Jack Humphries is there. He's a Birmingham lad, Walsall way. We got Adam. We got Emil. Look, Birmingham's back on the scene now in Cage Warriors. It needs to come back to Birmingham. It does. It really does.
It just feels like everyone that was like there around the scene all kind of like graduated from Cage Warriors at the same
Yeah.
time. So it was
Yeah.
suddenly
Yeah.
like, wait, where's all the like Midlands talent gone? They've all gone at once. And now, London is probably the closest one I get to. Obviously, they have Wales, but as we said already, Oban is
Yeah.
doing great
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
So that wasn't ever going to last too long. Obviously, before that, you had like Jack as well. So yeah, it feels like we're missing
I, I
someone down south.
I think we're ready to come back to Birmingham now. The talent we've got coming out, you could put so many lads on the Birmingham card, and it literally could be Birmingham versus the UK or the world on there. It could be.
Yeah, you could you say Birmingham versus the world, it'd be Renegade versus the world, wouldn't it? Like,
Yeah.
pretty much Renegade, Fearless, just literally a couple joined together. I hope it happens, mate. I love to see it, and I'm
Me too.
excited
Me
to
too.
find out when you get some fight news announced in the new year, mate. So I appreciate the
Yeah, me
time.
too.
Congrats on the win, and I'm sure I'll catch you soon.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
All right, man. Have a good rest of your day. I'll catch you later.
You too.